Hi, I'm Stacy. Welcome to the kitchen of my old Kentucky home. Today on Bourbon and Biscuits, we're going to be celebrating Old Fashioned Fortnight, spotlighting Louisville's official cocktail. We'll show you two new takes on the Old Fashioned. Let's get started. We're going to make an Old Fashioned bundt cake. Here's what we'll need. 1 boxed cake mix, 2 eggs, half a cup of oil, 1 stick of butter, half a cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, 4 tablespoons of bourbon, half a cup of orange juice, 1 orange, and some candied cherries. So this is a really fun recipe. We're basically just taking a boxed cake mix and playing around with a little bit, kind of substituting some of the things that you'd put into it and then adding some things. And what we're adding are the traditional flavors that you would have in an old-fashioned cocktail, your cherries, your simple syrup, basically, orange, and of course, Kentucky bourbon. So before we play around with the batter, we just needed to get our cherries chopped up. And I just used the maraschino cherries out of the jar. You could also use fresh cherries, I imagine. I didn't use the Luxardo because that would be a little too expensive. And I'm just going to zest this orange. We're also going to use orange juice to put in our cake batter as well. Okay, we've started our basic cake mix, and some recipes vary. I use 2 eggs and a half a cup of oil in this one. You might have a different recipe that doesn't call for either of those, but they usually call for a liquid. And in my case, my box cake mix called for 1 cup of water. That's where we're gonna get a little inventive. And this is a riff from what my dad used to do making rum cakes when I was growing up. So we've taken that 1 cup of water. We're just gonna use a half a cup of water. We're gonna use a half a cup of orange juice and 3 tablespoons of Kentucky bourbon for that liquid amount. And then we're just going to add also our cherries and our orange zest to the cake batter once we've gotten that mixed up. Okay, 2 minutes in the beater. Smelling good, smell that Kentucky bourbon. And I'm just gonna add a little of this orange zest, really just kind of got it like maybe a half a teaspoon off of that. And then I'll zest some more when we're prepping the cake. And then our cherries. And we're just going to put this in any kind of bundt style pan that you have. You can make minis. I've greased this one in advance, and we're just gonna pop this into a 350-degree oven and cook it for according to your package directions. Mine says about 30 minutes for this size of bundt that I have. Our bundt cake came out of the oven perfectly golden brown, and while it was cooking, I made the sauce that goes over it, or the glaze, if you will. And so what this has is I just melted some butter, added a half a cup of sugar, a cup of water, and about 2 tablespoons, pretty good amount of Kentucky bourbon. Just heated this on the stove, and we are going to pour this in the bottom of the bundt and then on top. And so what you do, I already took a knife and loosened this a little bit. You're also going to take my little, what is this, thermometer, anything with some holes in your bundt cake. This is just so this glaze can go deep into it, nice and sweet. Like I said, I've already kind of loosened this a little bit. See how nicely that turned out with the cherries. So I'm going to pour a little in the bottom, about half of it, and then line this up again so where it's going to go back into the bundt, making a little bit of a mess. And then just carefully pour the rest of your glaze over. And I'm gonna let this soak in for about 30 minutes while Jessica shows us her new take on an old fashioned.
All right, so today we're gonna make a really refreshing version of the old fashioned cocktail. We're doing frozen old fashions. So I've got 3 cups of water and a half a cup of sugar in here already that I just microwaved to get hot enough for the sugar to dissolve. We use a can of orange juice concentrate, cherry juice, bourbon, and bitters. And then to finish our cocktail, we're gonna use some 7-Up and orange and cherry for garnish. First, I'm gonna make this, what we're gonna put in the freezer. So I'm just adding the orange juice concentrate to the sugar water mixture. I'm just gonna do a splash of cherry juice. We're doing, again, all the classic kind of flavors from an old-fashioned cocktail. We're gonna combine it all together here. And do a cup of bourbon. And then I'm gonna do just several dashes of bitters in here. And I'm just gonna stir this up, and we're going to cover it and put it in the freezer overnight or until it is basically just frozen solid. All right, so I had one batch in the freezer already. So this is just what we wanna see, the nice kind of frozen consistency here. A little soft still because it's boozy. So you're just gonna scrape this and fill up your old-fashioned glass with the frozen mixture. All right, that looks good to me. And then we're going to top it with any kind of lemon lime soda. I am doing 7-Up here. So it just adds a little light fizziness to it. And then I'm just gonna garnish it with an orange slice and a cherry, just like I would do my normal old fashions. And there you have it. It is a frozen old fashioned.
Jessica, I've already cheated and tasted this, and I've got to say, with a drink this good, old-fashioned fortnight needs to be longer than 2 weeks.
Agreed. And this is going to be great all of summer.
It is delicious.
Yeah, it's very refreshing.
Where has this been before?
I love a classic old-fashioned. It's official cocktail of the city. The Pendennis Club version is perfection, but it's nice to switch it up, and this frozen version is just refreshing and delicious.
We did my mother-in-law's recipe of the whiskey slushy.
Yes.
Summer or two ago.
Right.
This.
Yeah, it's a little bit more
this is
citrus
like
forward,
this. Yeah.
and it doesn't have the tea in it, but it does have the bitters, which really make it still taste like an old-fashioned, but just
I think
a
this
very
needs
fun
to be official cocktail part B.
of summer.
Of summer.
Of Louisville summer.
That's it.
Yes.
Not just old-fashioned fortnight, but the official cocktail of summer.
Absolutely.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers. We'll see you next time on Bourbon
And Biscuits.
Cheers.